Hello again. I just wanted to tell you about the last major part of After Effects, which is the render queue. The render queue is a um, kind of a place where you put your movie and kind of compile down all of your effects into a kind of a self-contained movie um, that you can then put onto a DVD um, or you can turn it back into the teacher. And this is kind of a way to uh, create all the different outputs of this file. So I'm kind of happy with this current video. Kind of tweaked it a little bit. Um, so what I'm going to do is select my composition that I want to add to the render queue, and this is the inside track option 2, which is the frame or the composition that holds the other composition. And I'm going to go to composition, and I can either go to make movie or add to render queue. If I go to make movie, it's going to bring my render queue up and it's going to add this um, this movie into it. Let me just show you the other thing. If I go to composition, add to render queue, it's going to do pretty much the exact same thing. So for example, right now it says composition track status queued, so it hasn't started yet. And there's three major components of this. I'm just going to go through each of them quickly. The first one is the most important, where you're outputting to, or where you're saving the file. So I'm just going to click this text, and I am going to go to my folder here, and I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm just going to call it render output. Create the folder, and I'm going to save this. So now my current output is to a new folder called render output, and these two settings here are also important. If I click on the text, don't use the arrow. The arrow is more or less a preset, which you can define your own presets. If we're creating a lot of the same output, you can use these arrows. But to get into the dialog, you click on the text, and here output module. Don't get too intimidated here. The most the major things that you'd want to pay attention to are you know what type of video that you're going to have outputted, and whether or not you want to have audio. A lot of mistakes occur right here. No one checks this audio output, and they never get audio um, out of their After Effects movie. I don't have any audio in here, so I'm not going to check this. Um, but here you have format QuickTime Movie. Is probably what you're going to be using most. You can also output to H.264 um, or any other different type of format. If you want animated GIFs, you can do that, or even Adobe Flash. So there's lots of different types of outputs you can create. Okay, and then right here, post-render action, you'd say none, but for example, if you wanted to render this movie out and import it back into this project, you would want to go to import in your post-render action. So that would render this movie out and place it right back in your footage over on the left. Your video output, right here it's set to animation, which is basically saying that it's not going to compress your video at all, and your file is going to be absolutely huge. So you're going to need to go into format options, and although animation is the best looking, it doesn't compress your video down, so you'll never be able to upload it back to the website. This is more or less suitable if you're going to burn it to a DVD. So what you're going to need to do is use MPEG-4 video, and this is kind of like a fail-safe. This is a list of codecs that are installed on your computer, um, and it all depends on what computer you're on. H.264 is the new MPEG-4, so that's also widely used, but in order to play these back on your computer, you have to have these codecs. to play it back. So I'm going to use MPEG-4, and I'm going to use I'm just going to go with high quality here and hit OK, and then I'm going to hit OK here, and then this other button here, render settings. These are just additional settings. Most of the time you don't really need to mess with this, but for example, if over here, if you wanted to change the frame rate, or you only wanted to render like a part of your movie out here, like maybe I didn't want to start at 000, and I wanted to start halfway through, I can go to custom and change my start and my end and stuff like that. And also, what resolution do I want? Do I want the full quality, or do I want a third? Most of the time you're going to want full quality. Okay, so I'm going to hit OK, and I am going to click render. And this is going to go through, it's going to render this out, this timeline's going to go through, and by the end we should have a QuickTime movie in our folder. One thing to note is that you can set up as many of these settings as you want. I could set, I can throw maybe 3 or 4 different movies into the render queue, set all the settings up in their save locations and everything, and hit go, and then have 3 movies after that. You don't have to do one at a time. That's why it's called a queue, and it stays in the queue after it's finished. It's a status done, and now I should be able to go into the folder that I made and play back this movie, and it probably is going to be exactly what I asked it to do. I asked it to be here. There's my new text at the bottom, and if I do a Command I on the file, it's only a 10 megabyte file. It's pretty small. This is definitely something that could be uploaded to the website. Dimensions are exactly what I told it. Codecs, it's using MPEG-4, and we're good to go.